responsiveness. So that means that they also refer to this as a democratic type of parenting. The reason they call it democratic is because everybody gets a vote. Now the parents have the ultimate control, they make the ultimate decisions, but the child gets a vote. What that means is the child is allowed to express what they would like, that, you know, to use Maya's example, that the child wanted to have it was okay to say she wanted the chocolate, right? So that's her vote. You know, I'd like to have the chocolate and the Cheetos, right? And it's okay to express emotions and express opinions, right? And say, and then the parent can then respond and say whatever they're choosing to say. But one thing, you know, an authoritative parent would not go shh and, you know, shush the child away, right? So then they're basically saying, you don't get a vote. You're not allowed to say what you want, and I'm not going to hear you, right? So an authoritative parent would want the child to feel heard, because that's the way that children learn to have a voice in the world, you know, is in these ways of being heard. That doesn't mean that you're necessarily going to let them have the chocolate, though, right? So ultimately, the parent has the control. So parents that are authoritative are responsive to their children. They help them they use unconditional positive love and regard with them. They teach them through talking to them, explaining things to them. If they do rely on discipline, it's more likely going to be things like timeouts or removal of privileges. But the idea is that they are available to teach them what the right way is to do things and look at things in terms of this teachable moment that I was talking about. The effects of authoritative parenting is children do better in school, they have better self-esteem, they're happier, they're more independent, they're more able to take care of themselves in terms of talking about saying what's true for them, and being assertive in relationships, which is different, by the way, than being aggressive. Being aggressive is not respecting other people's needs and boundaries. Being assertive is being able to say what your needs are. Now, this is different than the authoritarian parent. You'll notice that they have the same root, right? But the end is different. So an authoritarian parent, they are high on demandingness and low on responsiveness, meaning that they tend to be over here, somewhere in the colder range. So they're more likely to use power and coercion to parent. You know, do it because I said so, would be something an authoritarian parent. I'm the parent, you know, so you have to respect me and do what I say. It's my way or the highway is another authoritarian parent kind of thing. You know, that means you do it my way or you're out of here is an authoritarian parent kind of thing, right? This is, children don't get a vote with authoritarian parents. The parents said this is what you're supposed to do and you're supposed to jump and do it. And the effects of that is you see less misbehavior, so that's one positive effect. They tend to do fairly well in school, another positive effect, but they don't internalize the correct way of doing things. They're dependent on an authority figure to tell them what to do. They're less happy. They're more prone towards anxiety and depression or rebellion. This one is called the permissive indulgent. They tend to be lower on the demandingness and high on the warmth and the responsiveness. So this is more the child-centered parent, the parent that believes in the child that should be free, that they shouldn't have anything constraining them. They're more likely to want to be their child's friend. If the child wants something, they're more apt to give in to the child. Again, this is a matter of degrees. So some permissive indulgent parents are more involved than others. Doesn't mean they'll say, oh yeah, go running out in traffic and get hit by a car. It's not that kind of a thing. But they have less demands for conformity than the authoritative parent. Some of the effects of the permissive indulgent parenting is that it can increase a feeling of anxiety or aggression in a child because they don't have a sense of consistency or structure, because they're the ones that are more often in charge in terms of what they want. In school, they might not do as well, although some kids do because they're getting the warmth and the valuing. And they're more prone to get involved in drugs or alcohol earlier with a permissive indulgent parent. The last one on the bottom is the uninvolved parent. They are low on demandingness and low on responsiveness. So this is the parent that might just be totally wiped out and completely stressed, for example. Maybe they're doing 2 jobs. Maybe there's marital conflict. So, maybe they have their own issues going on in their lives. Maybe they're depressed or have their own substance abuse problems, or for whatever reasons, very narcissistic and just totally involved in themselves. So it could be a number of different factors, but this is the parent. It's not that they're not providing shelter and food and clothing and taking them to school, so it's not neglect, but they're not available to interact and engage with the child, so the child doesn't get that feeling that they're loved and valued. They feel more like they're in the way, maybe a burden, if you will. Right? So that has the worst outcome for children, as you might imagine. A child that doesn't feel loved and valued then doesn't feel safe and they don't feel secure. It affects their ability to learn. It affects their ability to function in an effective, competent way with others. It affects their interpersonal skills and lowers their self-esteem. So that would be kind of the worst of the 4. Any question about these? Yeah.
Actually, I have a question.
Yeah.
Even though they said, how like Carol, you were explaining the authoritative parent, the authoritative parent, yes, was like the best parenting style. Is there? I know this is going to be kind of weird to say, but is there a way to imply all 4 styles without kind of overdoing it really? So to show like permissive indulgent, you don't really. It's like I'm not condoning being an uninvolved parent or a permissive indulgent parent. But, to show them, like, okay, if you don't want to be treated this way, just don't do, like, certain things. So you don't get, like, treated that way. Is there any way to imply all 4?
We're going to be talking about parenting next time.
Mm-hmm.
So let's bring this point up, and I'll try to clarify it.
Okay. All right.
Because it doesn't mean that as an authoritative parent that you can't allow them